empowerment, and we are here today to tell you that our brothers and sisters from Latin America deserve so much better. They deserve dignity, respect, solidarity, but also opportunities to thrive in this city and in this country. We are very honored and grateful for all the work that nonprofits and mutual aid groups have been doing on the ground every morning. But we also need to recognize the work that community-based organizations are providing with few resources that we are providing every day. At NICE, for over 2 years, we have been receiving new immigrants and asylum seekers. We have processed over 500 cases of people who need emergency housing and shelters. Most of them families with children with dire needs, and we are trying our best to give them those opportunities. However, we know that after filling those dire needs, all these asylum seekers and new immigrants are coming back to our organization to look for job opportunities, to look for economic security, for training, for health and safety, because as my colleague Camille was saying, after a moment, they will look for jobs and a steady income. So we also need to think about the workforce development efforts that all these new brothers and sisters will need and are in need right now. And
we're going to have to continue leading on groups that are doing the best they can, and that will continue because that is who we are and that is what we do. But this is no longer how we need to operate. We need to invest in these systems, make it long-term, make it sustainable, and remind everyone that this is who New York is, which will put them on a path to economic sufficiency and strength, and they will also qualify for other services, and it gives them the time that they need to figure out what comes next. Because this system is style, no support, and it is time for them to do what they can to be a part of this response. They cannot keep going between this is not our problem and this is a threat. Neither of those things are true. To start with, and until Congress gets together and passes the reforms that we have asked for
in this moment to provide where often our government has failed. I am immensely grateful to the work that our community leaders have done. I am immensely grateful to the organizations and groups. We got us, right? As a daughter of an immigrant, we got us. However, it is our responsibility to work at the federal level, the state level, and the city level to make sure that we're providing shelter, food, healthcare, education, and the resources so that everyone has the opportunity to live, work, be educated, and thrive in this city. So I'm proud to stand alongside my colleagues in making that call. I'm proud to contribute to that and do what I can at the state level to fight so that every New Yorker can survive and thrive in this city. Thank you so much. Grandfather or grandmother, whoever came first. Let's understand, we're not gonna play Pavlov's dog experiment just like the Texas governor is doing to us. Put us under pressure. We're not gonna function that way. We're gonna function in a way that we're meant to be. Like the liberty that the torch held high, saying this is a place when you're tired, when you need freedom, when you need a place to breathe, this is the place to be. We're not saying that we're gonna open the gate for everyone to come and at every time. But if you are pressured, like this father that's running, that's trying to get a place, walking the valley, the desert, the whole thing that he can come across, dead folks. They could have been eaten. They could have been dead. But when they come here, let not make them feel like they're not welcome.
Be far more alert and responsive. Folks should not, after leaving the Port Authority, have to return to the Port Authority for more services. We cannot keep relying on a patchwork of mutual aid organizations and immigrant rights groups. We need a robust and coordinated response from all levels of government to successfully welcome asylum seekers. The bottom line is, we can fund the response we need to meet this moment, or we don't and condemn thousands of people to roam the streets of New York City with nowhere to go. We have now, our city has struggled to cope. Asylum seekers have slept on the floor of intake rooms and the streets of our city when there was nowhere else to go. Our city is mandated by law to provide shelter, and we must own up to the fact that we have failed every single time that buses have arrived. And that signal signals exactly why we're here this morning calling and launching Welcoming New York as a plan to ensure that every single asylum seeker coming into our city is received with love, continues to receive every single service they're in need of at the shelters, and has a transition plan for permanent housing and wraparound services that they will need for months and years to come.
As well as the community with the highest number of immigrants and undocumented immigrants in the state of New York. And what that means is I understand the need for medical care, the need for mental health services, the need for legal services, the need for government to work hand in hand at every level, state, federal, city, with our community groups to respond to this. And we have to stop doing it in a way that it's always an emergency. We are an emergency response. Had we put a plan of action 4 or 5 years ago when we had a wave of children and mothers coming into the country on how to welcome them, on how to make sure that they had everything they needed the minute they stepped into New York, we would not be here. And the reality is that until our immigrant community is not treated with dignity, doesn't have a path to citizenship, and continues to be used as a political pawn, because remember that that's how this started, with the governor of Texas using our community as political pawns. Until that happens, we're gonna continue to operate an emergency, and we shouldn't do that. We are the city of immigrants. We should have a better plan. Our team has been meeting with the state and the city over the last couple of weeks to make sure that we are creating a path, that we're figuring out how to invest the money, how to create programs, how to support the community groups that need it.
I want to thank the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, and specifically the Mayor as well as Commissioner Manny Castro for their diligent work in ensuring a coordinated response for the welcoming that has been happening, as well as expanding the emergency shelter system and creating a welcome center. But that's just the beginning. There's much more work that needs to happen. The New York Immigration Coalition's Welcome New York campaign is an effort to ensure that every asylum seeker who makes it to New York has the services, shelter, and care that they need, not only to survive, but to thrive here. When immigrants are under attack, what do we do? Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Murad Ouada. I'm the Executive Director of the New York Immigration Coalition. It's important. It's important that we mobilize a key humanitarian response for the estimated 10,000 asylum seekers who've traveled all the way here. These folks have endured long, arduous, dangerous journeys because they believe in the American dream, and they believe in being able to seek refuge here. For some, their journeys were over 3,000 miles walking to the southern border, and then getting through and being placed on a bus over 2,000 miles away for a 2 to 3 day bus ride.